I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good to you, and to take a normal breath and note how far into your body that goes. Just noticing your breath without changing it, feeling the need to modify in any way. And as we settle in here for this meditation on negativity, I want to ask if you would be willing to just be with yourself however you are today. Maybe you're not very negative. Maybe you are really enjoying the time and the space that this crisis is affording many of us. Maybe you are panicked, full of anxiety. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you've experienced a lot of loss already. Would you be willing to name those things to yourself? And after each one, take a breath and say, that's okay. I am really angry. And that's okay. So now I'm going to teach or remind you, if you are already familiar with, a pattern of breathing called box breathing, which is where you breathe in through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale through the nose for 4 counts, and hold at the bottom of your breath for 4 counts. So it'll look like in, 2, 3, hold, out, hold. And if you just get into that rhythm while we meditate on negativity. So I want you all to think of the worst case scenario. Maybe you feel that that has already happened to you. But I want you to imagine the absolute worst thing that could happen. And then the next worst thing. And then the next worst thing. Imagine all of the worst things happening right now. I want you to really feel the feelings of experiencing those things. What does it feel like to experience the worst possible thing you could imagine? Where do you feel that in your physical being? You just want to put a hand where you feel that. So I feel it in my jaw. I'm being very careful to not fully touch my face this time. I feel a tightening in my jaw. I can feel the muscles bulging. I can feel a bit of a headache starting because of how tight this feeling of experiencing the worst thing I can imagine happening is. I want you to imagine telling somebody about experiencing this worst thing that you can imagine. Telling them every detail of what you're experiencing. What happened? What did you lose? Who did you lose? What can you no longer do because of this worst case scenario? Tell them how you feel. Imagine being as vulnerable as possible. You're not venting, you're being vulnerable. You can be angry and vulnerable at the same time. Can you nuance those feelings? Maybe you're scared. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're angry. Can you pixelate those feelings? For anger, is it frustration? Is it rage? Is it defensive? For sad, is it hopeless? Is it wounded? Is it acute? Is it a long-standing sad? For fear, differentiate. Is it fear or is it anxiety? Are you acutely afraid of an immediate threat, which can include things like being disbelonged, not having community? That registers in the brain as, I'm going to die. Or is it a vague but large sense of dread that you can't pin down? Can you really dig deep into those feelings? Don't think so hard about them. Just let them come up as you're telling this trusted person about your woe scenario, your worst case scenario. Really see yourself with this person. What are you both wearing? Where are you standing? What sounds are around you as you share your pain with this individual that you trust? really let yourself complain. And venting is a way of experiencing your experience at arm's length. Complaining is naming what is happening without trying to see the positive. You're off the hook from trying to see the positive. Let yourself off the hook from that. And if thoughts of positivity do come up and you feel like you want to name something positive that's happening in the midst of all of this chaos and loss and badness, just push it aside. Do not allow positivity to come in. Imagine you're playing whack-a-mole with positivity, and anytime, well, yeah, but this positive thing, just whack it. So this conversation with this trusted friend could go for hours, right? Because the more you peer into the veil, the more you see all the negativity. You know this. We've all experienced this. So now I want you to imagine what this friend does. Do they try to jump in with positive thoughts? Do they listen and validate? Do they jump on the bandwagon of complaining and negativity? What do they do? It's fine, whatever they do. Just allow the scene in your imagination to play out. What do they do? And if you've lost count of the box breathing, start again. In for 4. Hold. Out for 4. Hold. And as the scene ends, in your mind and in your body, with whatever this trusted friend does, however they respond, breathe through that. Whether they validate, whether they reflectively listen, whether they reject your complaining because they can't absorb that themselves, or whether they jump on it with you and collaborate in negativity. Whatever they do, breathe through that experience. Maybe the way they respond is something to add to your worst case scenario. And as we come to a close today, allow the feelings of the worst case scenario and of the encounter with the individual that you told all of your woes to. Let those feelings disperse. Release them out back into the universe. Release the images that came to you, the thoughts, the impulses to do something, which happened throughout for many of you, I'm sure, if you're anything like me. Let them dissolve. And breathe yourself back to now, wherever you are. And let whatever happened be okay. In my next email, which probably will be before May 1st, I will share some of the thoughts and science behind what we just did. But I want you to experience it first and possibly do some journaling about what's true for you. What was that experience like? Experience is inarguable, right? It's something that happened. You got an image in your mind. That is not something that I can argue with. You had a feeling. You may have argued with yourself. You may have said, I shouldn't feel that way. This person should not be responding this way. I shouldn't be whacking down positivity moles. I don't want to do this. All of those things are fine. I want you to have the experience. The bodily experience, the imaginational experience before we get into explanation and education and why. So this is just an experiment, something I'm doing in these unprecedented times. I know there's overwhelming amounts of content out there. I feel I'm behind on all of my content consumption as well. And so if this doesn't feel like something you want to do, that's completely okay. But for those of you that are willing to do this experiment with me as I kind of flail through my own process, I'm sharing from my own process in case it's helpful to others out there, then I want to thank you for joining me and look forward to the explanation, the why. Why did we do this? Why should I focus on negativity when everything out there is saying be positive before the crisis? Everything, positivity. Why are we intentionally not doing that? So once again, thank you. And I'm sending you peace and strength and authenticity as you head out through the rest of your day or evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Blessings to you.